Dresden, Kenna Stones. Wearing number 18 from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Josie Fenn. Number 24 from Avon, Indiana, Sydney Grandeman. Wearing number 25 from Macomb, Michigan, Maddy Ferrell. Number 31 from Girard, Andrea Scatino. And rounding out the lineup for the home team, wearing number 33 from Avon Lake, Margot Duval. BW is coached by head coach Jim Woodkin. At this time, we ask that all fans please rise and kindly remove your caps as we honor America and those who protect our freedom at home and abroad with the playing of our national anthem.
Coming to you live from Georgie Finnie Stadium in Berea. Welcome inside our coverage of the Baldwin Wallace Yellowjackets. It's game number 1 at home, but far from the first game of the season. Game 8 this year for the Yellowjackets, who are 5-2 on the season, but finally playing on their home field for the first time in 2019. Tonight they've got the Hyrum Terriers from the North Coast Athletic Conference. They come in with a record of 1-5. I'm Brendan Gulick along with Cole McDaniel. Ready for a game tonight, Cole, that frankly the Yellowjackets have probably had circled on their calendar, and you know the Terriers have because of the way that these two teams played against each other a year ago.
Yeah, and we talked about that before we actually came on air here, and it was one of those things where Hyrum came out, they played tough, and really the lady team for the Yellowjackets, they were fortunate they had Rachel Bender last year. Bender went off. She scored some goals, really kept them in the game, and it was a tight game and a high-scoring one. This tonight could be a little bit different. Again, Hyrum has had struggles so far this year scoring goals. So far, they only have 3 on the year. And this team for the Yellowjackets doesn't score quite as many goals as they have in the past either. So this could be a low-scoring game.
It could be, or it could be a high-scoring game. You never know, because sometimes when you see things on paper like that, all of a sudden you have the script flipped in a big way. So that's why you got to make sure you go out and play the full 90 minutes, or in last year's case, more than that, double overtime. The Yellowjackets with a 5-4 win. Caitlin Harris scored a couple of goals. Hyrum got on the board in the first minute last year, and so you know the Yellowjackets will certainly come out and be a little bit more ready right from the outset. Let's give you the starting lineups first for the Yellowjackets, who are once again led by head coach Jim Woykin in his 3rd year as the full-time head coach of the women's side. Opening whistle comes, and off we go in Berea. Jackets are in their white tops with brown numbers trimmed in gold, and the Terriers will be in their navy uniforms with white numbers. BW in the starting lineup. We'll start with them defensively, where Emma Bruno's being tested early on here. This one's chipped out by Morgan Gray, who's the left center back. Jackets at right center back, also leaning on some experience in Andrea Scatino. Their outside backs on the left side, Kenna Poptic, and out wide on the right, Josie Fenn. In the midfield for the Jackets, it's definitely an area of contention tonight. They've got to play well in the midfield. Kenna Stones on the left, Sydney Granham in the midfielder, and in the center, And up wide on the right, Maddy Ferrell. And then up top in the 4-3-3, Kayla Webb playing on the left side of the attack. Margot Duval gets the start for the Yellowjackets tonight. She is a sophomore out of Avon Lake. And on the right side of the attack, Michelina Rush. Good work here. This is Hyrum's freshman J.C. Ward, who's been very impressive so far. Also playing with her older sister on the team. More than that in a little bit. Jackets knocked that out of play, denying Hannah Ward. And a corner kick here early on for Hyrum.
And one thing that we're noticing is there was a switch between Kenna and also Josie Finn as they switched from left back to right back. So we'll see if that was necessarily a strategic move or what they were planning with that. But again, Finn is now at right back and she's usually at left back.
Corner kick came from Hannah Ward, fell in the middle of the box, and headed out of contention for a moment. On the Hyrum Terriers side, their senior goalkeeper, Allie Green, is one of their most experienced players, no doubt. She was an all-conference performer last year, looked really, really good. Definitely one of the bright spots for Hyrum on their in terms of their returners. Across the back line, they've got Amber Baker, Emma Kovac, Caitlin Morse, and Caitlin Pongrance. Continued attack here. Good job on the backside of the play. Scatino knocked it out of the mouth of the goal. In the midfield, Val Lauterbach, Kylie Davis. You'll definitely see them get involved. Up on the attack, Sam Miner, Hannah Ward, Caitlin Harris, and of course J.C. Ward as well. That's your starting lineup for the Terriers.
And we talked about so far, only 3 goals for this Hyrum team so far. Ward, Harris, and Miner, the only ones to get goals. Each of them have just 1 to this point. So this is a team that's going to be hungry to score some goals in this game.
And Coach Michael Krakis must be happy with the fact that he's certainly getting some looks here early on because his team has possessed the ball deep in the Yellowjacket end the entire way here in the opening 3 minutes. They've got a second corner kick on the way. Jackets take their spots defensively. Hannah sends it in. It's hovering in the box and headed down wide right of the net. Looked like Caitlin Harris may have gotten her forehead on it, but time for an Emma Bruno corner kick. Absolutely perfect night for soccer here in Northeast Ohio. September 18th, there's not even a hint of a cloud in the sky. Temperature all day barely approached 80 degrees and hovered right around that at game time. There is a comfortable breeze, I should say, blowing just about from where those 2 corner kicks have taken toward the bottom of your screen at home. That's sort of the direction of the wind.
Yeah, and the thing with the direction of the wind coming really directly towards the press box in this one is going to be critical more on corners, things like that. It's not going to be anything where the ball's going to take a bad bounce, go directly into the goal because of the wind. Actually, in the last men's game, that was the case because the wind was blowing from right to left, carried it off of a bounce over the goalkeeper. We won't see that here tonight.
Jackets looking to just start stringing some passes together here and begin to put some possession together. Long ball played up ahead for Margot Duval. If nothing else, it's out of their defensive end of the field. And Allie Green booted it halfway up the bleachers.
And interesting from Hyrum's defense there is they only had 1 person back. Everybody was pushed up. Very fortunate that Duval was not able to get on the end of that because the counter was on for the Yellowjackets.
If you're just tuning in, the Jackets in their white tops, white shorts, and Hyrum in the navy. BW first 3 games of the season all went their way. And frankly, they were good wins. Kenyon, Nazareth, and Wittenberg in their respective leagues are all among the upper echelon teams. Nazareth was a conference champion last year. Kenyon and Wittenberg always among the better teams in the NCAC. Good idea playing it straight down, but Jackets couldn't really get a great look. Good idea from Kenna Stones, who ever since her freshman year a couple seasons back, you can just see the potential. And you'd have to think if BW gets to where they want to go, They're going to need Kenna Stones to play at a high level.
Yeah, and she's strong. She's got, a lot of height, so she's dangerous in the box, but she also just gets a lot of shots off. So far, leading the team in shots this season with 17. And from the midfield spot to be leading in shots, that's pretty important, and she's playing a big role on the offensive end in addition to the defensive end.
It's good work by Kayla Webb intercepting that pass and going up the side to win the first corner. Yellowjackets have frankly been pretty good on set pieces this year. The vast majority of their goals have come off set pieces and not in the run of play. Left-footed shot from the top of the 18. Headed over towards Stones. Popped in the air. Stones has another look at it. Just put it over the top of the bar. Kayla Webb was there as well. Originally came off Maddy Ferrell's foot. Good chance. Came up empty. Jim Whitekin and Michael Krakis, the two respective head coaches, and frankly, good friends. Guys that have a great deal of respect for each other on the field, but also friends away from the game. I would imagine this is the kind of night they're both looking forward to. You get a chance to have a little bragging rights. Those things matter.
Yep. And someone else to point out on the Hyrum coaching staff, Cheryl Bell, is an assistant coach, and she herself a former Yellowjacket, so coming back home.
It's certainly nice to have a homecoming, and we will welcome her back with open arms immediately after the game is over. All kidding aside, glad to have a Yellowjacket alum back on campus. All right, free kick coming for Hyrum on the far side. There's 37-22 and counting. No score yet. This is Amber Baker. Baker with her right foot. That's off Morgan Gray's forehead, out of play. You know what? Beg your pardon, not Baker. Instead, it was Hannah Ward that took it.
Well, and Hyrum got fortunate that went off of Morgan's head weird, and it went back for a corner because, the players were there to deliver at the back post. So really, the post ball there was the wrong decision, but they get a corner out of it.
Ward with their third corner kick. It's an in-swinger, but put too much behind it.
The volleyball team currently 12 wins and 0 losses.
All right, so a goal kick for the Jackets.
Traveled to Cleveland for a non-conference match against crosstown rival Case Western Reserve University. That match began at 7 o'clock.
Bruno pounds it away. Yellowjackets followed up those 3 early season wins with frustrating showing up in Buffalo, losing games to Westminster and to Trine. Scatino plays it back. Bruno rids it, but recovered nicely. 2-0 and 3-0 the scores in victories over Oberlin and Carlo. Jim Whitekin joked with me before the game and said, I'm having a pretty good showing so far against the NCAC.
Yeah, and it's always great to come out and get non-conference wins early in the season. And sure, there was a little bit of a slip-up in Buffalo. Buffalo, for this team in the past years, has been kind of a tough spot. It's been tough for them to get wins there, but regardless, no matter what they do in Buffalo, they seem to win plenty of games in the non-conference schedule to start the year.
Left-footed shot, trying to pick out the right corner. Good effort from J.C. Ward, but a little off target. Tonight's broadcast sponsored by Dan Andrews and Olympic Forest Products. They're a global recycling company. By Papa John's Pizza in Berea, the official pizza provider of BW Athletics. You can call them at 440-891-1900 or order online, papajohns.com. And by the Oswald Company, they'll handle all of your insurance and risk management needs. Webb, a dangerous threat down the right side, looking for some help. She's got an open target on the backside. Miss Shalina Rush, misses wide left. Oh, the Jackets let a golden chance slip by.
Yeah, and that's one of those where all it takes is just leaning down, heading it in. Even using your chest would be a good option there. Just if you stick your thigh up and try to hit it like that, there's a good chance that the ball just skids off and doesn't go directly towards the goal. That's what happened to Rush there. Great ball by Webb.
Kind of hard to believe in that game last year. 5 goals for the Jackets, and none of them came from All-American Rachel Bender. Michelina Rush scored the first goal and got the Jackets off the schneid after a tough start. They were down 3-0, not even 14 full minutes in. But Rush scored and got them on the board. And then all of a sudden, Morgan Gray, early in the second half, gave BW some life. Gray eventually scored the game winner in the 109th minute. Kayla Webb also had a brace in that game. Caitlin Harris had a couple of goals for Hyrum. Val Lauterbach and Hannah Ward both scored for the Terriers as well.
Well, and in this game, you know, Rush is going to be disappointed with missing that opportunity there, but it's still one of those things where, as I'm watching it, she's got a lot of room on this back post, especially when Webb's had the ball. I think if she keeps getting in that position, she'll have an opportunity to score later in this game. You know, you hate to let an opportunity go, but you know, it's not one that's later in the game. It's still early enough that you know where the opportunities can be coming from. Just got to get to the spot again.
Baker, junior at left back, young lady from Las Vegas, knocks that one out of play. There's actually 3 players from Hyrum that are Las Vegas, Nevada natives. Amber Baker, Caitlin Harris, and Tatiana Garcia. I had specifically actually asked Michael Krakis about that and said, what was the recruiting story behind those 3 players? He said, you know, I came from a program at Oberlin that had a slightly more national footprint, and when I got the job at Hyrum, wanted to try and establish a similar idea. This one slips through, but Bruno gets to it. And he had somehow come across Amber Baker and said, you know, that's a player I want to recruit. And turned out a couple of her club teammates also were pretty good and seemed to fit what we were looking for. And he said, frankly, the relationships he spent time building with those players and with their families was enough to convince them to come across the country. And he said they're just terrific people and good soccer players at that. It's a nice story, no doubt, and will certainly help Hyrum continue to build and expand its footprint out toward the West Coast. Short corner, it comes quickly. This will be Brooks that rips one with her right foot and misses top left corner.
Well, about the story about getting 3 players from Nevada, you hardly ever see even just one person on a team out here from the West Coast. So to have 3 on the same exact team is honestly incredible, and it's probably nice for Hyrum to also kind of have that connection there. Maybe they can continue to get some more players from that area as well, but very interesting to see 3 players in Ohio from the West Coast.
Anna Ward's entry pass wasn't really what she wanted, but you can check off another corner. This is the 5th corner kick for Hyrum. We're only in the very beginning of the 15th minute. This is not how BW drew it up. Ward into the middle, headed free by Kenna Stones. Played back in off Sam Miner's foot, right in front. Bruno tried to make herself big. Thankfully, a miss hit. And the Jackets catch a break. That had goal written all over it.
Yeah, I'm not sure how the Yellowjackets escaped there without conceding a goal. Not only just one opportunity, 2 opportunities with the ball coming back down. Bruno came out, of course, most everybody thought it was offsides there. It wasn't, and BW escapes.
Good look for Rush, who's trying to make amends for missing earlier, and she rips one low. Allie Green did her best not to spill it out. That is one of the areas where the Yellowjackets think they could find some success tonight. They like their ability to counter quickly. And they do feel they've got some speed on the outside to do it. Throw in for Josie Fenn. No score in the 16th minute. Baldwin Wallace finally a chance to play in their home opener. That's a good ball ahead for Harris. Looking for some help. Morgan Gray stride for stride with her. Gray pokes it free. Harris somehow got off a good cross anyways. Sam Miner was threatening, but Emma Bruno read it right. Well, somewhere along the way, the Yellowjackets need to find ways to put themselves in less threatening situations, because they've done a good job not allowing a goal, but they have not done a good job preventing substantial buildup. This entire first 16 and a half minutes of the game, Cole, has been almost entirely dominated by Hyrum not only holding the ball, but working it into the corner and throwing good crosses across the middle of the goal.
Right, and against a team that's not going through a goal-scoring drought, some of these would be buried in the back of the net, and it could be, 2-0 at this point if some of those goals happen. But it's one of those things where Hyrum's still trying to find their groove. Again, just 3 goals in these first games so far for them. And you can see the potential. You can see the talent. They're getting the ball in the right spot. It's just it's not coming to them yet. They just need one game to really spark it, and then maybe they can continue to bury it in the back of the net.
That's a pretty good look by Harris. Actually, Hannah Ward over there on that left side spun and used her right foot. I'm not sure she was necessarily shooting as much as she hoped somebody would be on the back end of that. Substitution here as Caitlin Harris comes out. That's why her name slipped out of my mouth so fast. Courtney Wendell, junior forward out of Aurora, takes her spot on the field here. So the first Hyrum sub comes at just shy of midway through the first half.
Well, the other thing, too, is I'm noticing off of Emma Bruno's goal kicks, Hyrum's coming up, and they're winning all of the balls, so it keeps staying down in the Yellowjackets' end. I think the Yellowjackets have done a good job with corners, but so far, not winning the 50-50s in the middle of the field.
This is Duval. Kayla Webb is asking for it. Duval couldn't find an open lane to get it to her. Kovac knocks it out of play for a throw-in. Yellowjackets, every time they've come racing up the field, have had a tactical advantage. Josie Fenn. Kayla Webb, offside. Referees tonight, Austin Sierri, John Talley, and Sherry Clifford. That was Sherry working the far sideline there that raised the flag.
Jim Watkins' signature. You are the winner of 2 Jimmy John's sandwich cards. BW would like to thank Jimmy John's and Middleburg.
Scoreless in the 19th minute.
Will the winner please bring your program to the press box to receive your prize?
Free kick from a long way away for the Terriers. Your thoughts so far on what you're seeing and what your expectations were?
Yeah, I mean, it's still the same thing. We're looking on paper. I didn't expect too many goals. I didn't expect it to be a shootout like last year. We'll see what happens as the game goes on. It could turn into that, but we're seeing both teams have good opportunities, but just not finishing it. I think that was the difference with last year. Both teams had opportunities. They had a high-scoring game. So far, neither team able to capitalize. I think one thing is that BW is dangerous on the counter. I think Hyrum needs to be careful, needs to get back a little bit more. But I think overall, Hyrum started off quickly. BW's kind of responded, and I think it's been pretty even for the most part. It's just a couple of those balls sliding across the 6 in the BW defensive end is pretty dangerous.
Now it looks like freshman Emily Casimore is going to come into the game. Young lady from near Brunswick. Family lives in Hinckley, Ohio. It's Amber Baker who is down. Baker, again, I have no idea, don't want to speculate at the nature of her injury, but can at least confidently tell you that she was wearing a brace, is wearing a brace on her right knee, her right knee, as she started tonight's game. So I suppose you can only hope that whatever is ailing her at the moment is not a further injury or a re-injury of something that she may have already been dealing with, but don't want to speculate at what she might be going through. So Amber Baker still on the ground. We'll take a quick time out here and come on back with action as it resumes. 26-10 left in the first half on BWYellowjackets.com. Well, Amber Baker was able to walk off the field, at least mostly under her own power. Hopefully she is not injured beyond her ability to return. Meanwhile, the Yellowjackets make a sub as Brandy Phillipi comes on and takes Margot Duval's spot for a moment. Phillipi, a new face for Yellowjacket fans. Young lady who is a freshman from the Columbus area. Went to Pickerington North. Poptic played it wide left to Rush. And the return pass intercepted. Davis, good ball played ahead. Wendell trying to get there. Emma Bruno charged out quickly enough.
The Hyrum substitution was number 3, Emily Casimore.
Emily Casimore is a solid defender and a freshman that this coaching staff really likes. But I would imagine the Yellowjackets are going to try and test her, given her general lack of experience as a young player. And the fact that she is just checking into the game for the first time would lead me to think that maybe they'll try going her direction, see if she's ready.
One thing for Hyrum I'm seeing as well when the Yellowjackets are on the attack, Allie Green, their goalkeeper, not afraid to come out. She's almost playing a sweeper keeper at times because it seems like Hyrum's pushing their defenders so far forward. So it's one of those things where you have to play more diagonal balls because if it goes straight, it's going straight to the keeper.
Grabbin plays this wide right. Kayla Webb. Stones wants it in the corner and gets it. Kenna. Back Webb's direction. Got all the way there, but Allie Green scoops it up.
And on that build-up there, Kayla Webb, who is on the right wing, she went to Brunswick, and then she was going up against the freshman defender, Casimore, who's also from Brunswick, and megged her on the pass through. So welcome to the game, freshman from the same high school.
Good play by Bruno on the cross that nearly turned into a shot. Bruno slapped it away. J.C. Ward double team down in the corner. Jackets trying to win it back in a Hyrum throw. Yeah, it's always fun when you see the local competition kind of rekindle its prior kinship. I assume they're friends if they were former teammates, but I don't want to make an assumption I shouldn't. So whatever the case might be, tonight playing on opposite sides, that's kind of fun to watch. Meanwhile, the Yellowjackets checking Rush out of the game here and bringing on Olivia Kane. So BW's made 2 changes up front. Olivia Kane and Brandy Phillipi have both checked on here. 22nd minute. Yellowjackets have done a lot more defending here early on than they probably care to. But so far, so good.
The men and women's cross-country teams are back in action on Saturday, September 28th, when they travel
Jackets opening up the day in second place in the Ohio Athletic Conference behind Otterbein. It's been a good start to the non-conference schedule for Jim Woidkin's team, but he knows that they're going to have to find ways to play really solid defense against some of the elite teams in the conference. Ohio Northern having another good year. Otterbein's off to a good start at 4-1, and they are scoring goals left and right. Otterbein's only loss was a recent setback at Kenyon. Kenyon's always a very good team. But Capital and Ohio Northern are showing to have pretty good sides again this year.
Well, and the thing is, no matter how well you do in the non-conference, you know, to get to the tournament and continue to advance is what you do in the conference. So, I mean, you could go out there and have a team who doesn't win a single game in the non-conference, but somehow turns it on at the right time. And it's all about what you can do against the teams in the conference. So, you know, these are just kind of build-ups with all the non-conference games. And they're important, but the important ones really start to hit in October.
Davis tackled Phillipi to set up the free kick. Header off target to the left-hand side from Maddy Ferrell. Not a bad idea, but missing over to the left.
Pretty far out to get a header on frame and enough power to beat the keeper.
Well, the Jackets trying to string some possession together here on the attack. Want to go back and play through Poptic. Spins it across the field, a dangerous ball, but Ward didn't pick it off. Instead, Kayla Webb wide right for Fenn. Recenters in the middle. Rush comes onto it. It was glanced her direction, and her rocket off the left foot. Diving stop by Allie Green. Great look on frame. Jackets are denied the first goal.
Yeah, that was a really good look by Maddy Ferrell. She came up through the midfield and got that shot off the half volley. So well done to get on frame, but a good.
All conference, despite the fact that Hyrum as a team struggled a bit last year. Long range bomb hits the top of the crossbar. Now she had Bruno beat, but Wendell hit it just ever so softly. 20:20 left on the first half clock. Both teams making changes. Webb and Davis coming off. Jackets bring Bella Regal into the game. And Lauren Caldwell checks in for Hyrum. That ball landed behind the net. So Caldwell goes into the center midfield. And you'll see Bella take Kayla Webb's spot. So now all three attackers for the Yellowjackets have subbed out. And BW has also just brought Amanda Donahue into the game. She'll go into the midfield for Grabbin. Donahue wears number 5. Good effort from Phillipi to try and get there, but a little behind the play. Foot skills from Kane looking good. Still a BW throw. 26th minute. Yellowjackets, even if they can't get something productive out of it, would love to have the ball on this end of the field for a little while. Poptic's throw in. She'll do it again. Hold on a second. They're saying it actually glanced off of Poptic. So it is not a Yellowjacket throw.
Yeah, I think when Poptic hit that and tried to swing in the cross into the middle, when it deflected back, it caught her on her back, and the official got that one right. Unfortunate for the Yellowjackets, but they get to stay in their offensive end after that foul.
Wendell commits maybe more of a sloppy foul than a malicious one, and it sets up a free kick for Poptic. 18-12 and counting before halftime.
I'd find Olivia Kane right here. She's wide open.
Poptic plays it to the middle instead, a little more high traffic area. I agree with you. Nobody was within 10 yards of Kane on the left side of the box. Perhaps Poptic saw something different.
Yeah, and that's one where Kane needs to speak up and shout for that, because they could have easily played the ball on the ground directly to her. She would have had a shot inside the 18.
Hiram throw. And the body language there from Maddy Ferrell, not all that positive. Seems frustrated. Meanwhile, have not seen Amber Baker return after she got hurt at some point about 19 minutes in. We'll have to monitor her progression, and if she is able to come back in. Emily Casimore, her substitute, filling in just fine as Gray puts one up in the bleachers.
Almost out of the bleachers. Very close.
Hyrum working well in tight spaces, and then they finally give it away. Jackets make a sloppy pass. The shot is blocked from a good long way out. Kane's effort, not what she had hoped for. Coverage of tonight's Yellowjacket women's soccer match is brought to you by Jimmy John's in Middleburg Heights. We're freaky fast, so your sandwich arrives freaky fresh. Call us 440-625-0745, or you can order online at jimmyjohns.com. Hyrum with a tactical edge here. Lots of room to work for J.C. Ward. Too much, in fact, for the Yellowjackets' liking. It's a good pass that BW is able to block. Lauterbach took a shot from a long way out, but frankly, nobody came to the ball whatsoever.
Well, both teams have had opportunities with the counterattack. I think it's one of those situations where that's on the midfield for both teams. They've got to get back. They've got to track their runners. You can't forget about your defensive duties when you push up high on the offensive end. And as we see Hyrum coming back down the other end with that counter, it's just the defense needs to shore it up, and actually the midfield needs to shore it up and get back and recover.
Samantha Carrico, a freshman from Columbia Station, which, depending on where she lives in Columbia Station, is maybe only 15 minutes from BW's campus here. She comes in at the right forward spot, taking Courtney Wendell's place. Caitlin Harris still has not returned. Eyes up the field. Fenn trying to chase it down. It's a Yellowjacket throw.
And Kenna Stones, who we just saw on the ball, she hasn't had much of it in the last little bit. She's somebody who you need to have possession of it. Again, we talked about she had 17 shots coming in. She led the team in shots. She's an offensive threat for the team. Need to find her feet some more.
Ashley Sandrew, freshman midfielder, checks in as the Jackets come flying down on top of it. Another good long-range look. BW's had some chances, but haven't put one in the back of the net yet. Meanwhile, Bella Zemansky, junior from Norton High School, takes Maddy Ferrell's spot. 31st minute, still scoreless. Much different tale than the game we saw a year ago, which ended up 5-4 Yellowjackets in double overtime. This is Scatino and a Hyrum throw. Jackets weathered the storm early in the game. They've had a couple pretty threatening shots, but Allie Green up for the challenge. Green wisely sends it up the right side out of play. Another sub here. This is a BW change. It's Courtney Marzensky, who's coming on for Olivia Kane. Clock continues to wind here. Poptic down into the corner. Phillipi.
And here's the thing, too. If you get the center striker down in the corner, you need the midfielders, you need the backside player to crash in, try to get in the box. I think she wanted the cross, but nobody was in there. Not a single soul, really, in that 18. And you got to help out your forward.
Another ball finds Phillipi, and she rolls one slowly across. May have gotten deflected a bit. Carrico cut off. Good play by Scatino. Looks like Andrea might be pressing forward a little bit. Now she switches back. Ball wide on the right. Left-footed shot goes all the way across the face. Thumbs up coming. Good try. Kenna Stones couldn't get there, but it's a great pass coming from that right side.
Well, and that was a good look by Bella Szymanski to see the opportunity to cut back. She's a naturally right-footed player. Still can hit it with both feet, swings it in with her left foot. It's one of those crosses that comes really close to being a shot, and there was an opportunity.
Poptic goes wide. This is Szymanski back to Kenna. Plays it back in. Jackets come flying in on the back. Oh, it's an absolute beauty. Morgan Gray, 1-0 Baldwin Wallace.
And there was the breakthrough, and Morgan Gray, the center back, coming forward. And we know that she is an offensive threat. off of corners, and she can get her head on the ball. She's not afraid to get in there. She does it again. Good run off of the back post, and is able to just head it down and skips it right into the back of the net. So a good start for the Yellowjackets to finally get the scoring going in this game.
Hyrum brings Audrey Lauer onto the field. Boy, I'll tell you what, that was so well timed by Morgan Gray. Frankly, she was not part of the scrum on the backside of that play until the very last minute. She was hovering right around the top of the 18 and timed that perfectly. Give Kenna Popdick a ton of credit, too. I mean, she put that ball exactly where it needed to be. And Allie Green unable to keep it out.
Well, and whether it's the men's game or the women's game, they're just people who naturally know how to head the ball. They know how to get in there. They know how to do it, whether it's on the defensive end or the attacking end. Morgan Gray, again, showing that she's one of those people.
How about the free wheels on the outside from Hannah Ward, stuffed by Fenn. Beautiful play.
And despite some opportunities for Hyrum, and there have been some pretty good ones, honestly, they should have scored. It's still one of those things where I am impressed with the defensive effort of the Yellowjackets so far. Like there, Josie Fenn getting back. So despite the opportunities that Hyrum has had, credit to the Yellowjackets to keep Hyrum goalless in this first half.
Lauer came on for Sam Miner. BW on the move again. This one rolls slowly into the middle, cleared away. If only for a moment, though. Baldwin Wallace has not had the lion's share of the opportunities, but they make the most of their second corner kick of the match. This one played in from the corner. Kovach gets some help. Kenna Stones steps over it. Donahue tried the left side. Yellowjacket free kick. Another ball, another chance for Popdick. This is a place where Kenna is really, really good.
And this is another one where I don't understand Hyrum's setup here. They're just merging everybody in the middle. I mean, that's Bella Regal over there. She's wide open. If it's just passed to her, and it is, it's a good opportunity.
Regal plays one across. It's headed by Stones. She puts her own rebound in. Kenna Stones doubles the Yellowjacket lead.
It's almost like I saw that one coming. I mean, all you have to do is pass it out there. The defense is then going to have to move out. It's going to likely pull somebody off of the back post. It did. It opened up an opportunity. Kenna Stone's not able to get the first one because of the deflections. She stayed with it, puts it in the back of the net. And if Hyrum keeps up with that set and we keep seeing free kicks, just keep going to that. Play the short pass.
Well done by the Yellowjackets, taking what the game's giving them, and frankly, considering they were on their heels the entire first 20 minutes, to now be leading 2-0 as we approach the 40th minute. Baldwin Wallace can take a big, deep breath here. Hyrum has had a lot of good chances, but you can't help but wonder where their head might be at, given that they've had chances time and time again early in the season, but their problem seems to be finishing, not creating.
Yeah, and I'd agree with that. And when you have 6 shots but 0 on goal, that's an issue because they had opportunities to get in and get a shot from close. So if you can't put it on frame, it's impossible to score.
Well, it certainly helps Emma Bruno as well and her confidence. It's a lot easier to play when you've got the upper hand. And while Bruno has gotten better this year from a technical perspective, she's also got a better experienced group in front of her, and I think that's making a big difference too.
Yeah, and anytime you can have a more experienced defense in front of you, the goalkeeper loves it. It's one of those things where, you know, as for people who play in goal, you want to have a little bit of action, but not too much. Honestly, you'd rather have a boring game because that means everybody in front of you is doing their job. If they're putting up humongous stats, a ton of saves, that means the defense isn't doing something right in front of you.
Hard to argue with that. Anna Wenzinger on for the Yellowjackets. She comes in for Phillipi.
Number 21 for BW has entered the game, Anna Wenzinger.
A couple of subs for Hyrum as well. I know they brought Caitlin Pongranz off and Lauren Caldwell off. Jessica Smith is in for Pongranz, and Emily D'Amico comes in for Caldwell. Chested down and cleared for a second.
And that's well done from J.C. Ward in the midfield for Hyrum to break that up and take it off of Stones, because if Stones played that through ball, I believe the Yellowjackets would have been on a quick break to the other end.
This is played ahead for Smith. Couldn't hold off the defense. Wenzinger, a negative pass. Poptic. Can't get there. Senior class for Baldwin Wallace includes Sophie Widener, Emma Bruno, Kenna Poptic. And that is it. I beg your pardon, Courtney Kofer is also a senior. But this is an extremely young Yellowjacket team.
Well, and despite being young, the nice thing is that they still have plenty of juniors. They have plenty of sophomores out there. So it's not just a team where they're having to play a bunch of freshmen and they're starting out there. I mean, you have some people who have played some games. They've had some minutes. Sure, they're not to the senior level in the sense of, you know, they've experienced everything in the college game.
Sure.
But at least they have games under the belt to this point.
Again, just to build off that, the sophomores and juniors on the roster, frankly, have been asked to play a lot of minutes. And meaningful minutes the last couple years. So this is the young kind of team that you want to have, frankly. Jim Woodkins got high hopes for the 2019 OAC season coming up soon. Touched away for a second. Here's J.C. Ward. 4:45 and counting in the first half. BW commits a foul. Here's a Terrier free kick. What does Hannah Ward want to do? That's a good ball. Bruno keeps it out of the frame. Nobody came crashing down on it.
Yeah, and obviously Bruno having a great season so far. The one thing is, she's not the tallest goalkeeper, so if the ball takes a wicked bounce, it could skip over. She positioned herself well. Now, her back was almost against the net there, but she was able to keep her outstretched arms out and keep the ball from crossing the line. So as long as any part of the ball is on the goal line, that means it's still in play. So no goal there. Well done by Bruno to not let that skip over, but again, I'm not quite understanding Hyrum sets off their free kicks. They're not putting enough people in.
Two substitutions. Tatiana Garcia, who gets some good, meaningful minutes for Hyrum, is in at right forward for the final 3:33 of the first half. And the Yellowjackets bring on Jay Vasveri, a sophomore in the midfield, taking Kenna Stone's spot. Yellowjackets have not subbed out any of their back line, but everybody else in the midfield and on the attack has split minutes. Poptic, Gray, Scatino, and Josie Fenn have all played all 45 minutes so far.
And here's the same set, and Marzinski's wide open right here in the corner if she's found.
Well, Poptic with a good ball on frame, and it's punched over the top. Allie Green saves a goal on a brilliant ball played in.
Well, if you hit a ball like that, then there's no need to pass it away. Well done by Poptic, but even better by Allie Green, the goalkeeper.
You referenced how Bruno at 5'4" certainly gives up some size.
A generous 5'4".
Yeah. Allie Green listed at 5'6". That feels a little bit more accurate, but either way, she also is such that you can chip the keeper if you hit the ball right. And Allie Green just made a fabulous stop. Driven in off the corner from Poptic. Played back out. With the left foot sent way up in the air. Szymanski's threatening ball. It's punched out instead of pulled in by Green. A bit surprised. And it's knocked out of play. Yellowjackets with less than 2 minutes left in the first half. They lead 2-0. Goals from Morgan Gray and Kenna Stones, both off of set pieces. The first a corner kick, the second a free kick that originated on the right side of the field. But this Yellowjacket set piece danger is becoming a habit, and that's a good habit. Although you're not going to surprise anybody in the OAC. They're going to see a lot of that on film and recognize you better be locked in when it comes to getting everybody set the way you want.
Well, it's not just setting up against another team and how they play. It's also learning from the mistakes of the opponents. I don't think we'll see anybody set up against these set pieces like Hyrum is tonight.
Good step over. Regal rips one right at Allie Green. Final minute of the first half. Yellowjackets lead 2-0. You can feel the tension building for Hyrum and the desire to rush these last 30 seconds. Clock's at 25 seconds. Fenn drives one out with a left foot. That helps kill off some time. Kovac, the left center back. Back forward here with 15 seconds. Quick throw into Hannah Ward with 9 seconds. Spins it across. Up to the top of the 18 with 5 on the clock. And finally the ball gets knocked out of play. Hyrum made it close late, but the halftime clock expires, and the Yellowjackets will take a 2-0 lead into the locker room. Outstanding effort from Emma Bruno in goal early, keeping it level. And then Morgan Gray with the first goal off of a good corner kick from Kenna Poptic. The second goal, Kenna laid one out to the right. Regal with a perfect ball across. Kenna Stones finished off a rebound. And the Yellowjackets looking good here early.
Yeah, they look good. I think it was one of those things where they did miss that opportunity. Rush missed it at the back post, and I think it was one of those things where you saw they were going to have the opportunities there. They didn't capitalize on that, but it continued to come off of the counter, and then ultimately the set pieces continued to prove to be a big point for the Yellowjackets, and they were able to do it, once off of a corner and once playing it off of the free kick. So the more they can continue to get down, get set pieces, I think they'll be fine in this game.
Halftime is inside 10 minutes at this point. We'll step aside until we get rolling with the second half. You're watching the Yellowjackets and the Terriers live tonight from Georgie Finnie Stadium on BWYellowjackets.com. Welcome back on BWYellowjackets.com as Baldwin Wallace and Hyrum get ready for the start of the second half. I'm Brendan Gulick along with Cole McDaniel. Yellowjackets got goals in the first half from Morgan Gray, her second of the year and fifth of her career. And the second goal came really good effort from Kenna Stones. She scored her fifth career goal and her fourth of the season. Either one of those two goals stand out to you, maybe one better than the other?
Well, I think the one thing was that I think the goal from Morgan Gray was one of those where it's just her ability to get in there, get the header in. And I think that was all attributed to a good ball by Kenna and just the header by Morgan Gray. I think the specific thing with the second one is that was more of the set. It's more of how Hyrum was defending the free kick. And I just think you got to send somebody out to track the short ball, the easier one on the ground. They're not doing that. They need to make that adjustment. So I think that second one stands out more just in the sense of that's an issue for Hyrum, and if it continues, that could result in more goals for BW.
Well, first and foremost, as play resumes here for the start of the second half, the good news for Hyrum, junior left back Amber Baker, who got hurt in the 19th minute and did not return the rest of the first half, is out there to start this second half. So hopefully that means she is back at 100% or close to it, whatever she is working through. Hopefully it's not going to linger. Again, she is playing with a brace around her right knee, but not sure if that was the injury in the first half or not. Tonight's broadcast brought to you by Crown Plaza in Middleburg Heights. If you're looking for a quality place to stay before or after any Yellow Jacket contest, choose Crown Plaza. And by Medical Mutual of Ohio, the official healthcare provider of Baldwin Wallace University. Early second half chance for the Terriers to try and draw even as Hannah Ward gets ready for yet another corner kick. That's something that stood out to me in a big way in that first half. Hyrum 5 corners. They came in the first 15 minutes, but then didn't have one again the rest of the half. Ward sends one to open space. This is Wendell. Her shot is blocked by Gray. And the Yellowjackets on the move. Maddy Ferrell waiting for some reinforcements all the way across toward Kayla Webb, but she can't get there in time.
Well, and that's literally the same way we saw the first half start, is Hyrum getting the corners and then BW breaking out on the counter. So the second half starting true to how the first half played as well.
Well, the throw-in from Baker actually landed out of play. So now Josie Fenn will throw in. Fenn, Gray, Scatino, and Poptic, the back four for BW, all played every minute of the first half. But the Yellowjackets rotated several players through the midfield and the attack. Harris, long ball ahead. Scatino going to be the first to get there. Emma Bruno picks it up. Good hustle on the backside of the play. Miscommunication. Lauterbach shoots that well off target wide right. She swiped across the ball. Hannah Ward was there. Looked like she was going to pull the pass in, but Val decided she wanted the ball instead.
Well, and one thing with Kenna Poptic usually being on the right side as a right back, she's dominant with her right foot. She's used to being able to, play the balls forward with her right foot. The problem is at left back, if she cuts in and swings it across, it's been a dangerous pass, and it's really given Hyrum some opportunities when she's tried to play it through the middle.
That's a good-looking ball up the field for Regal. How about in terms of second half adjustments on both sides? Let's start for BW. Obviously, the first 20 minutes of the game, it felt like they were very reactive and just trying to keep the game level, and they settled down nicely. Where can they be better here in the second half? Actually, let's get back to that in a second. Regal up the left side. BW has a really good chance, but
offsides.
the flag went up for offside.
Yep. Yeah, so I think one big thing for sure with this team is that they need to get the ball down in the midfield a little bit more. I'm seeing them try to just go too fast, get on the counter, and getting on the counter is a good thing sometimes, but sometimes when you're leading, you want to slow it down. You want to kill the clock a bit, and this is where I think they need to get the midfield in play more. You need to see Grabbin, Stones, Farrell on the ball a little bit more and try to possess it.
Illegal touch for the Jackets. Baldwin Wallace 2, Hyrum 0. How about on the Hyrum side? Well, obviously they surrendered 2 that they probably wish they had back.
Yeah, and the obvious for them is that they need to get shots on goal. It's something they haven't done this year. It's something they haven't done in this game. They've had opportunities but can't get a shot on frame. You're not going to score a goal if you can't get on frame. But I think the big thing that I've touched on, they really need to work on their sets, because in open play, they've hung with BW. It's been a competitive game. If you think about open play and how it's going, it could be a tie ball game. But when it's come to the set pieces, BW's been more organized. They've had the advantage, and Hyrum really needs to figure out their sets and kind of redraw some things.
Frankly, in open play, I think Hyrum has been the better side. That's a mistake by Bruno. Hyrum can't capitalize, though. Right idea, but again, execution just a little bit off. That one got sent wide left.
And that's one where Bruno and BW will not get away with that in the OAC. Once it gets to an opportunity like that, you get a wide open shot. That one's going to find the back of the net. Fortunate for the Yellowjackets that Hyrum not being able to score any goals at the moment, but that's something where Coach Wyken's not going to be happy with that, because that could result in opponents' goals in conference play.
That was probably the best burst of speed we've seen all night from Margot Duval. Perhaps she was just holding back a bit in the first half, but really got after that one nicely. Yellowjacket throw. Stones drives one toward the 18. It deflects off the official, but nobody is harmed by it. 52nd minute, Baldwin Wallace 2, and Hyrum nothing. Not the only game, by the way, tonight in the conference. We'll try to get you an update from the OAC scoreboard here shortly. It's a good touch. Scatino got to it right as Harris arrived. Back toward Webb and out of play. Earlier today, Heidelberg beat Trine 3-1. Capital shut out Kenyon 4-0. And Marietta picked up a 3-0 win over Berea College. Wilmington has a 1-0 lead over Earlham. They're early in the second half.
Yeah, and I keep noticing, I think defensively it hasn't made a difference, but offensively, I'm still not sure how I feel about the Kenneth at left back and Josie Finn at right back. When you have a player like Finn who's predominantly trying to use her right foot at that right back spot, I think it's a little harder for her offensively, and vice versa for Poptic on the other side, who's right-footed player. I wouldn't be surprised to see them switch back in the future down the road. I think cutting in is beneficial on the offensive side, but defense.
Time, Fenn's come out of the game. Jerkego, a sophomore from Strongsville. Other two games in the conference. One is final. John Carroll 3 and Buffalo nothing. And it looks like Mount Union and Chatham are tied at 1. That game is late in the first half. Throw in for Baker here. It's a good throw. Knocked out of play. Baker, somebody that Coach Mike Krakus is pretty high on. He knows that she's trying to gut through some challenging injury there with her leg, but we spoke highly of her earlier today. Coach Krakis also used the analogy of a baseball game when describing his team's offensive challenges this year. They're going to give him a corner kick. He said it's kind of like in baseball. When you're hitting well, the ball seems bigger. Well, in soccer, when you can't score much, the goal looks smaller. He said we need to find that extra bounce, trying to take some pressure off ourselves. Need to understand and stay true to our offensive process a little better. They could help their cause in a big way here. Corner kick goes all the way to the backside, and quickly the Yellowjackets take possession back. It's a good ball forward looking for Maddy Ferrell, but last line of defense comes up big. Good work there by Emma Kovac.
Yeah, and by last line of defense, we've seen that all game. Really only one defender holds for Hyrum, so if that defender gets beat, it's pretty much all on the goalkeeper, Allie Green, and we've seen her have a willingness to come out and be a sweeper keeper, but it's a risky play to really allow the counter to happen.
Regal gets to another one. Right foots it in the middle. Redirected on the left post, and it's a diving save. Oh, it was almost a great goal by Margot Duval. Regal is really looking good on her crosses. The Jackets have 2 on the board, and Green has saved a couple of beauties.
Yeah, and Green's kept her team in this game. She's made a great save off of that free kick, that long shot from Poptic, and right there, that one, another huge save. I think she's been the player of the game for Hyrum to this point. She's really come up big.
Poptic hangs one up, and just before Morgan Gray could get her head on it, Hyrum cleared it behind her. This one sent way out of harm's way by Lauterbach. Gray steps forward. Kayla Webb now. Webb with her right foot. She puts one right on target. Allie Green didn't have to move a muscle. Was waiting for it.
Yeah, and that ball looked like Kayla Webb was looking to whip it in. More of a cross. I think it just came off a little too straight, went straight to the keeper. Again, Green just having to stay on her toes because a lot of things coming in at her right now.
Regal. Crafty play, sending that one forward. That's a goal kick. Substitution time on Hyrum's side. Jessica Smith comes back in, just as she did in the first half. She takes Pongran's spot. About to start the 58th minute. Baldwin Wallace 2, Hyrum nothing. Along with Cole McDaniel, I'm Brendan Gulick. Glad to have you back on campus. Hard to believe it that this is the first home game of the year for any of the Yellowjacket fall sports teams, or at least the first home event on campus. Everybody has been competing now for a couple of weeks, but mostly on the road.
Yeah, the men's soccer team's really been only had the 2 games and just had the 50th anniversary. So, they have had a little bit of time so far, but again, the women's team, a long wait. It's been a whole month on the road, so pretty nice to come out with a 5-2 record after spending the whole first month of the season on the road.
Yeah, I suppose I should have specified the men's soccer team was home, but it's the first home event for the women.
Speaking of the men's team, they are on the road at Oberlin right now and still tied 0-0 in the second half.
All right, we'll keep our eye on that. Danny Ruppel, within the last 2 weeks, has become the all-time leading scorer in program history. Was also the OAC Offensive Player of the Week for this week. Emma Bruno, the Defensive Player of the Week on the ladies' side. Having another good game, has not allowed a goal yet. JC touched it ahead, tried to connect with Harris. Good steal. Farrell goes to her right. Kayla Webb with lots of room to operate. Webb decides to go to her right. She had an open teammate in the middle. Surprised she didn't make it past there toward Duval. Perhaps she was concerned with the offside flag. Either way, Yellowjackets have a corner kick coming.
Yeah, and a little surprised that Webb doesn't have a goal so far on the year as well. An all OAC second team selection last year, and she definitely racked in the honors. She had a great season. Now her role's changed a little bit more. She spent a little more time in the midfield. Now she's on the right wing some more, but a little surprised she hasn't gotten a goal yet.
Farrell with the right foot. Tried to bend to the side and drive one in, but spun the ball off the side of her foot. Just struck it a bit. Well, the concept was there, but the execution a little bit off. Ooh. Well, a ball knocked off Amber Baker. It's a corner kick, but Amber Baker has been a magnet tonight. And not necessarily in the best of ways. Poptic on the quick corner. This one sneaks up top. Stones with a shot that gets blocked. Actually, beg your pardon, that's Morgan Gray who took the shot.
And Hyrum fortunate that that one was blocked because that ball was sweetly struck from Morgan Gray. Wrapped around, got it with her laces, and that came off hot. So would have been tough for any goalkeeper to save with that pace.
Regal flips over to the right side here. Kenna Poptic is, I beg your pardon, Kayla Webb is playing out wide left as Poptic goes to pick it up. 61st minute, the Yellowjackets with a 2-0 lead, trying to add to it. Subs coming on both sides. Hyrum going to bring Emily Casimore into the game. She'll take Kylie Davis's spot. Duvall checking out for Baldwin Wallace. And her replacement is Brandy Phillipi. Fresh legs up front for BW.
Entering the game for BW, number 19, Brandy Phillipi.
Goal kick. Good challenge from Regal. So it'll be Regal, Phillipi, and Webb up front. Grabbin, Farrell, and Stones in the midfield for BW. Caitlin Jerkago goes out and plays wide on the right. Kind of Poptic will go play at left back. Jacket center backs Gray and Scatino intact. This is better consistent pressure from BW. Controlling the last 15 minutes or so. Most of the second half, frankly.
And it's one of those things where, you know, it's hard to judge from up here, but it does look like Hyrum's just kind of being worn down. I mean, they are down 2-0. They haven't had nearly the opportunities they had in the first half. They had one really good one, but aside from that, nothing much there so far. So it almost just seems like, in addition to the legs, it just kind of seems like the morale and the pace from them has slowed down, and the Yellowjackets have stayed in the attacking end the whole time.
Michelina Rush comes on for BW, taking Regal's spot. And Courtney Wendell on for Hyrum for Emma Kovac. Looks like Hannah Ward is going to go play up as the center striker. Grabbin. Left foots it ahead. Right to J.C. Ward. Good sequence from the Terriers. Harris with the right idea, but nobody ran onto that one. A lot of game left. The Yellowjackets still lead 2-0, but trying to find a way here to maybe add a third goal and make the end of this game more comfortable. Most coaches will tell you 2-0 is a very uncomfortable lead.
Yeah, it's the most dangerous lead in the whole game of soccer because it's one of those things where I don't necessarily see it happening as much right now, but in some games where it's 2-0, but it's still very even, they're both coming at each other, it's one of those things where you can see a team get that second goal and then, get a little complacent and really have the realization that I think we should win this, and then they slow down and then they give up a goal and it's right back in it for the other for the other team. So I think it's one of those where you got to stay focused and not get complacent. And so far, Yellowjackets haven't looked too complacent.
I think they want to add a third one here. Stone sends this one all the way across. Webb couldn't head it directly down, partially because she committed a foul. Over Webb's head. Jacket throw. That's a foul. Clear cut on Phillipi.
That's Amber Baker again. She's been knocked around all day. Been a tough one.
Well, Baker will take the free kick here. The problem there from Baker was that she hit it where nobody could get to it for the Terriers. Phillipi. Good little chippy pass. Farrell ahead for Kayla Webb. Then Maddy runs back to the middle. Webb with a good ball across. Farrell trying to run onto a rebound. Excellent diving effort from Allie Green, keeping that ball from crossing the end line. Jackets catch a bit of a break.
I think that was a good ball in from Webb, but one thing with her out on that wing now is we've seen through her career so far, she's got some of the best foot skills on this team. She can easily go one-on-one with somebody, and that's one of those where you get one-on-one on the end line, especially when you're up 2-0. Why not take the chance? Why not try to beat the defender? I do like the ball across, but nobody was there, so I think taking it one-on-one might have been the better option.
Kane returns for BW. Hyrum is bringing Tatiana Garcia back on. Kayla Webb runs off. Caitlin Harris checks out. Hyrum 9 shots, but only 1 on target. The Yellowjackets have 17 shots, 7 on goal. And even though Hyrum took 5 corner kicks in the first 15 minutes, BW has taken 6 of the next 8 throughout the course of this game. And so Hyrum only has 1 more corner kick than BW at this point. Jackets have had a couple of other set pieces. Both goals have come off of stoppages. One off a corner, one off a free kick from about 40 yards out. Ward, good footwork. That glances, unfortunately, off Jerkago's head and ricocheted the wrong direction for a Yellowjacket fan. But worked out okay with Bruno there. Glad Caitlin's okay.
Yeah, and it was an optimistic look from Ward, but she's been on her own at times up front, and she's been able to make the moves and try to get in. It's just it's been a hard day for her, and went for the shot, and unfortunate for Jerkago to take it off the back of the head.
Scatino's ball for Phillipi. Too far out in front of her. Lauterbach got there first. Senior out of Lake Catholic over in East Side. Most of this Hyrum team is made up of young women from Northeast Ohio, but did mention the couple of exceptions. Redirected toward Farrell and booted away. Grabbin now. Too far behind Kane. About the Yellowjacket volleyball team, by the way, 12-0 at the start of the season.
Outstanding.
Looking really good.
Couldn't ask for a better record.
It has been a staple of that team a lot the last few years. The only difference now is they're doing it under a new coach. Really like the job that the Yellowjackets are putting together. BW throw. Casey's really been good ever since she came on campus last spring. Meanwhile, Sydney Graneman checks out. And the Jackets bring Amanda Donahue back in there out of Cincinnati. Goal kick.
Well, and somebody in that Yellowjackets midfield that I think's had a really good year so far, and she's looked good again today. I think up in there, number 25, Maddy Ferrell, she's done a good job on the attacking end of getting in there, starting the counters. I think she's done really well with that, so if she can continue that this year, I think she's a dangerous threat at the center attacking mid position.
Kylie Davis returns on the Hyrum side. Scatino. Poptic with a good pass ahead. That's a Yellowjacket corner. Excellent ball played out there for Phillipi. But a good defensive effort. It was asking a lot of Brandy to catch up with a ball that she had to full out sprint for 40 yards. Quick, short corner. Farrell with a left foot sends it into a defender. Stones turns and hits a rocket. It's spilled and it's put in the back of the net. Phillipi scores. Brandy with her second goal as a Yellowjacket. It's 3-0.
And that's well done by Kenna Stones to bring that down, not be tempted by taking it off of the half volley. It was a pretty high bounce. It would have been hard to deal with, so she brought it down. Still a little bit bouncy, but she was able to get a good strike on it. It whipped around, and just the power behind it kept it so Green wasn't able to hold on, and a great follow by Phillipi.
Boy, Kenna Stones hit that with some authority. That's why you lurk around the goal as long as you can. You never know if it's going to be too hot to handle.
It's just like in basketball. Follow your shot.
Right. Hannah Ward hoping to create something of her own. Can't pick out the top left corner. It came from a long way, but perhaps Hyrum starting to feel like they need to put their foot on the gas pedal here. Now down 3-0 as we enter the 72nd minute. At times, Hyrum has looked like the better team. But the difference, in my opinion, really is the two center backs for Baldwin Wallace. Scatino and Gray have played outstanding. I think it's minimized the traffic in front of Emma Bruno. Early in the game, frustrating with the number of balls that were getting down in the corner and crossing through. But Bruno hasn't really been put in too many difficult spots tonight.
No, and that's a tribute to the defense, like you mentioned, as a goalkeeper. You love to be out there and, make a great save, but it's one of those things where the less you have to do, the better, because the people in front of you have done their jobs, and I think BW's done that well so far.
Casimir hung it up in the air. The ball rolled all the way back to her on a deflection. The Jackets want to counter quickly. Olivia Kane, full out sprint. She'll get there. She's outrun all of her help by quite a bit, except for one player on the backside. No real chance, though, to connect with Rush unless it was in the air the whole way.
And we do have a goal update down at Oberlin. Baldwin Wallace broke the tie. Danny Rupel came up with the goal, and the Yellowjackets lead 1-0.
All right. Sam Miner comes back on. Miner is one of Coach Krakis's most effective players. He said she's not necessarily quick, but has deceptive speed. And she is very technical, reads the game really well, has an amazing shot, a natural left-footed bending shot. Creates a lot, but he said he actually wants to see her shoot more. Perhaps she comes into the game here late with those kinds of instructions. As that ricocheted off Morgan Gray's arm. If you're Hyrum right now, there's no reason to hold anything back. Don't leave any bullets in the chamber. Down 3-0.
And Minor, who you mentioned, one of only 3 to have a goal so far in this young season. The other 2 would be Hannah Ward and Caitlin Harris.
Wendell. Still possessing. Into the middle. Now Baker. Good work from Amber Baker. Gray came to it same time as Wendell. And the referee blows his whistle to signal the throw-in, but also to say they take a break. Spikes up. You know what? Not a throw-in. I beg your pardon. They must have whistled a foul. So Bruno sent it away. Just a quarter hour remaining. Baldwin Wallace impressing in their 2019 home debut. Wendell looking wide right. Hyrum tries to play through Hannah Ward. Way up in the air and way too much on it. Not Wendell's best moment. Jackets with Caitlin McGuire and Anna Wenzinger coming on. First time we've seen Caitlin. Substitution offensively for Hyrum as they bring in a reinforcement. Waiting to see if she turns around. We can see her number.
And Caitlin,
it's Caitlin Harris.
Yeah.
She's come back on. Okay.
And Caitlin McGuire, somebody who listed as a midfielder, but we've seen her play all over. We've seen her in the defense before. We've seen her actually in the midfield, and we've seen her up top. And right now she is up top on the wing. So kind of listed as a midfielder and can go both ways.
Phillipi was in trouble there. Good clearance. That's a veteran move by Morgan Gray. As the ball was coming her way, it glances over her shoulder. Figure out if she was going to receive any pressure.
The other thing with Wenzinger was in the first half when she was subbed in, she was up top running at the 9. Usually somebody we see in the midfield, not too often up top. Right now when she will be in the second half, she will be in the midfield back to what we're used to seeing her as.
Tatiana Garcia gave it up, but she was fouled by Scatino. Free kick coming for the Terriers in a pretty dangerous spot, all things considered. 77th minute.
And the difference here with the Yellowjackets and what they're doing defensively is they're doing it well. And Hyrum would leave the people wide open. Right now, Jerkego came over and is marking the short pass, and nothing there.
Geez, Hannah Ward certainly wants that one back. Yellowjackets misstrike it. Otherwise, McGuire would have had full speed ahead. Harris. Well, she gets by Gray, cuts back into the middle, and Scatino the last to hit it. It's an own goal, and Hyrum is on the board.
And that one just a mistake for the Yellowjackets and miscommunication. I'm not sure why Bruno came out. There wasn't really a chance she was going to get to that. And if that ball didn't go in, I think the official might have thought a penalty there because of the contact. So very fortunate for Hyrum, a team who has only had one shot on goal, hasn't really been able to do anything, and the Yellowjackets helped them out big time.
Well, those are the kinds of goals that keep you up at night if you're a coach. Jim Woodkin standing with his arms folded over his chest. I'm sure he's a little disappointed that the team has given away the shutout, especially because of the lack of looks on target. But good news for Yellowjacket fans. It's 3-1 with inside 12 minutes to go. And mistakes happen. Got to find a way to power through them. Oh, good work. Phillipi just straight up dispossessed J.C. Ward. Flings that one forward. Lauterbach cuts it off and cracks it out of play.
And that's one thing I appreciate about how Phillipi is playing is you see a lot of number 9s, the striker up in the middle who doesn't want to come back and defend. They just want to stay up there, have people feed them for their goals. Again, she showed there she's not afraid to come back and play defensive soccer, and that's a good thing to have your number 9 working.
I thought that may have crossed the end line. The flag officially does come up. Goal kick. Well, if you're starting to think about what's still to come for the Yellowjackets on the season, they hit the road this weekend. Heading to Waynesburg on Saturday before a couple more non-conference home games against Grove City and Ohio Wesleyan the next 2 weeks. First game in OAC action is Saturday, October 5th against the Capital Crusaders. Good pressure from McGuire, and she wins a corner. Boy, that was outstanding persistence there from Caitlin.
Well done to keep her feet, get that cross in, and got the deflection, won the corner. Good job by McGuire.
Kenna Poptic will take it. Lots of targets for Kenna. In the 81st minute, 3-1 Yellowjackets trying to add to it. Poptic sends it all the way across, headed wide left. Morgan Gray couldn't sneak up on anyone that time, but misfired with her header.
Although the contact didn't come off how Morgan wanted. Again, Gray getting in a good position. She's getting in good opportunities really off of the corners. So somebody who seems to the ball seems to just be attracted to her head in that offensive 18.
Well, the Jackets will take it because she can certainly finish. Courtney Wendell returns. Jessica Smith leaves the field. 9-12 and counting in regulation. The Jackets lead by 2. Baldwin Wallace at times has struggled, but for the majority of the game, they have been the better side. Good ball played across the front. Bruno does a good aggressive play coming out and scooping it up. Caitlin Harris was there.
And here's what we talked about earlier. We talked about how that 2-goal lead is dangerous. And they had the 3-0. It looked like this game was all but over. The own goal happens, and here Hyrum has some opportunities, and that was a brilliant ball across the 6. Bruno was able to come out and get it, but if somebody got on the end of that, this game could have completely changed if it turned into 3-2.
Phillipi looking to feed at far side. And I'm not sure if Marzensky just couldn't get there or what the case was, but Jackets turn it over. BW looking like they're going to bring several subs in shortly. J.C. Ward with a good ball ahead. Harris just watched it go slowly across. Nobody home to help her. Inside 8 minutes remaining. BW is bringing 5 substitutes over to the table.
Well, the good news for Hyrum is you can tell they have the creativity. They're playing good through balls. That last run was a good one. They're doing it right. Running from outside to in with their wingers, playing some good through balls, and it's there, and they just don't have the final finishing piece. They don't have really the wherewithal to get the shot on frame or somebody crashing in. If they can get that, then this team can work it around.
Hannah Ward Not afraid to let it go from a long way out. Grabbin.
And this change for Coach Wyken was initially when they were up 3-0. He thought he could just put in as many as he wanted and kind of just kill the game off. Now, because Hyrum's getting on the attacking end, he's trying to bring in some starters, some people who he's used to having on the field out there a lot. And I think you can tell there was a little bit of concern there, and needs to take care of business and walk out of here with 3 points.
So Webb, Duvall, and Marzensky are playing up front here. Everybody backpedals. Another free kick. Well done.
And Marzensky's wide open on the left side.
Yeah, nobody within 20 yards of her. Farrell's pass toward Kayla Webb off the mark. 85th minute. Scatino cut that one off. Got knocked over, dispossessed. Hyrum not done here yet. Lofted in the middle from Wendell. Gray sweeps across it. Wendell again. And she drives that one over the goal, and you can see the frustration in her body language.
Yeah, and you can see the frustration with Coach Jim Wyken right now as well with his defense. I think the defenders have gotten back. They did a good job of, stopping the initial attack, but the problem is you got to just clear it out. And sometimes you get later in a game and you see Scatino and Morgan Gray had the mental errors right there. They've gone 85 minutes now to this point, and when your legs get tired, sometimes you mentally get tired, and you just can't check out at all, and almost gifted Hyrum another really good opportunity.
Duvall wins a 50-50 ball and sends to Kayla Webb. Webb trying to stay a step in front of J.C. Ward, who's hot on her tail. Kayla stops, throws a dime across. Kenna Stones. Back to Farrell with a left foot. It's a diving save. Allie Green does it again.
Well done by Farrell. Proves she can play it with both feet. That was a great shot with the left foot as well. Looking for that back post, but again, Green meets the challenge, and she's given up some goals today, but she's played really well and made a lot of good saves, and a lot of that hasn't been her fault that the Yellowjackets have 3 on the board.
Poptic prepares for the corner kick. Kenna drives a good one. It's a long way, though. Headed back into the thick of things. Hyrum sends it out. Morgan Gray stops the onslaught there after Hyrum tried to come up the field quickly.
Yeah, that was well done by Jerkago to make sure that the break was stopped there.
Seemed like a silly throw-in from Casimir. Nobody home. That one crossed the touchline. Jerkago will throw in. Yellowjackets look like they're closing in on starting the season 6-2. It would be an impressive mark for BW as they get ready for what will undoubtedly be another challenging OAC year. The league is in very good shape right now. Hyrum on the verge of falling to 1-6. They've got matches with Mount St. Joe's, Mount Union, and Wittenberg all lined up on their home field coming up in the next week. This has been an impressive start to 2019 for Baldwin Wallace, especially considering what they lost in Rachel Bender.
Well, and one thing is when you lose a great player, your game changes. I think this has to be more of a team focus. I think last year you saw a thing where Rachel Bender's fantastic, and it wasn't necessarily her, but as you had all these people just looking to her, and I think they forgot, hey, we can play too, and we can play it around. Sure. And when you just keep trying to feed the same person, other teams get used to it. And Bender's a fantastic player, but I think they almost tried to rely on her too much, and it makes it harder. With this, she's not out there, and you don't have her, and sure, that's a huge loss. But I think sometimes then it allows you to be like, hey, we got to move the ball around, and I think their ball movement has improved.
Well done by Scatino. Well, I wholeheartedly agree. This team has taken good strides forward this year. Excited to see what the next 2 months bring for them. A lot of credit to Tara Bowen, Allie Woitkin, and student coaches Addison Baird and Cassie Didion as well, who have put in a lot of time and effort along with head coach Jim Woitkin. Final minute and 15 seconds. Yellowjackets with goals in the first half from Morgan Gray and Kenna Stones. In the second half from Brandy Phillipi. Final minute. Hyrum trying to come up with any kind of last-minute pressure they can. But it's been the same story for them all night long, unable to actually put in shots on target. Only one all night. Jacket throw. They got on the goal, or I should say got on the board with an own goal. And the fans starting to cheer a little bit, recognizing that the Jackets are about to pick up their first win at home this season. Final seconds. Casimir. Wendell sends it ahead. And there's the final horn. Baldwin Wallace 3, Hyrum 1, the final tonight. Jackets scored twice in the first half, once in the second, surrendered an own goal late. But after, frankly, a poor start to the game through the first 12 to 15 minutes, BW did a nice job recovering on the fly, and they were clearly the better team throughout the course of the night.
Yeah, I think at the beginning we talked about how Hyrum got down there. They had the opportunities, but they didn't capitalize on it. And when you don't capitalize on the opportunities when you're dominating a game, it really shifts momentum into the other team's hands, even if it's a tie game. And I think that's what happened tonight. And on the set pieces, the Yellowjackets were able to capitalize in the first half. And, the second half play was pretty dominant for the Yellowjackets. And aside from the own goal, it went pretty smoothly.
BW comes back home on Tuesday next week to play Grove City at 7 o'clock. But they are in action against Waynesburg out in Pennsylvania on Saturday evening. It's an 8 o'clock first kick Saturday night if you're following the Yellowjackets on the road. But they'll be back at home Tuesday next week for the first of 4 games in a row at home. Grove City, Ohio Wesleyan, and then they start the gauntlet. Capital, Ohio Northern, and Otterbein right out of the gate in OAC competition. Jackets go to 6-2. Hyrum falls to 1-6 on the season. For Cole McDaniel, I'm Brendan Gulick. Look forward to seeing you again here on Tuesday night when BW returns home. Have a great night, everybody.